Welcome to Storytelling with Lindsay Bednar.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Very good.
I'm so excited to talk. Your company's right up my alley because not only have you found a healthier snack option for kids, which I know we're always looking for and every other parent I talk to is looking for. But you also have like a really cool mission, which I'm excited to talk about too. So
Yeah.
start with what led you to create a granola company, because I'm assuming like you weren't younger, like when I get older, I'm gonna create a granola company. Because it's so niche, but like what a cool thing you're doing. And yeah, what led you to it?
Yeah, I wasn't 3 years old saying I want to make a CPG small business and blow up using granola bars. But it was probably like 10 years ago. My husband was eating a chewy granola bar, and I looked at him. I was like, Trev, there's no nutrition in that granola bar. And he's like, yeah, but it tastes good. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to make you a granola bar then, like that tastes good. So let me try to do that. And so I made him granola bars for quite a few years. And at the time, I was an event planner. And so, um, fast forward to 2019, I was doing a roadshow event for Whole Foods Local. So I was doing some local events for them. And for each of my events, I would bring my granola bars on site because as the event planner, you kind of want to take care of your staff a little bit and they're working hard and they're on the road a ton. And so I brought my granola bars and the staff was like, I think you got something. Like it's different than what's on the shelf right now. And it's got a really good taste to it. I think you could do something with it. So the staff at Whole Foods kind of encouraged me or inspired me to like do a business out of it. And so that was April of 2019. And by June of 2019, I sold my first granola bar. It was to my neighbor, and she still supports me today. And at the time, I was just selling it by Insta Story. So I would make batches of 16 granola bars, and I would post it on my personal Insta Story and be like, "Hey, who wants granola bars?" And that was kind of like my way of testing the formula and testing the pricing and doing it in a way that was like, is it actually good enough that people are willing to buy it and do something with it? And um, then by and right around that time, I was also thinking about the mission and my branding and why would anyone buy my granola bars over the 500,000 granola bars that are out there? Because it's a competitive market, and I was kind of crazy just to even like begin trying to get into this type of market because it's really saturated. And um, when I was thinking about that, my son, who is now 7, he was 2 at the time, he was, we were teaching him manners. And, when a 2-year-old screams no at you, that doesn't feel that good. But then when he says, no, thank you, you're like, did you just consider my feelings when you were telling me no? And so it kind of like was this light bulb moment. I was like, manners means something. Like when someone uses manners with each other, it's this respect and consideration. And granted, he was 2, but it made me feel something. And so that's how we kind of developed the branding and the mission behind our granola bars. It's all about like if our bars are so good that on a regular basis we want to go grab them and be gently reminded about the power of manners and uh, and thinking about like I see you and I hear you and I consider you, like what could that do as a daily reminder for our community. And so that's how it all came together.
That's so cool. And it's PNTY. So for please and thank you, correct?
Granola bars that say please and thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And so your your different kinds of granola bars, they have uh different names that have to do with manners. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so each of my bars is an invitation to act with manners. And so there's the golden rule, pardon me, sharing is caring, thank you, you're welcome. We have a lactation bar called the Mama May I, and then we also have granola called Yes Please. And so um, it's more than just the word kindness or just a single word. It's an action that we can take and actually do that with both ourselves and with others. So I think about like sharing is caring. It's not only for kids with like sharing your toys and sharing your stuff and thinking about others. It's also like us adults, we're out there volunteering. We're sharing our time and that's caring. So we're out there every day sharing who we are. Um, and I think that is an act of caring.
Yeah, so cool. And I mean, that's another thing I feel like every parent has to work on with their kids is just manners in general. And you talked about, when your husband was eating the chewy granola bar, which I think we're all familiar with, and you were like, that has no nutritional value in it, which it doesn't. So when you set out to create these, what types of ingredients were you trying to avoid? Let's start with that and then talk about
Mhm.
what yours has.
Was trying to avoid the extras, the additives, the things that you don't find in your pantry. And so part of that, we actually set out to make our own nut butters. So each of our nut butters we make ourselves, and that means that we can control the ingredients that go into there. I don't know if you've looked at like a peanut butter or hazelnut spread or an almond butter, there's extra stuff in those nut butters that I don't get to control. And so that was one of the things that was really important to us is our peanut butter has peanuts, honey, and salt. Our hazelnut spread has hazelnuts, honey, and salt. Our almond butter, same thing with almonds, honey, salt. Like it's it's a healthy protein, it's a natural protein, and it doesn't have all the extras in there. And then when I went out and sourced the other ingredients, I was finding that majority of my ingredients were already naturally gluten-free. I just needed to source certified gluten-free oats.
Mhm.
There, I mean, oats in themselves are naturally gluten-free, but the processing factor brings in the gluten. And so I source certified gluten-free oats. And then I was also looking at the ingredients, and all of them are dairy free except for the chocolate. And so if I can source dairy free chocolate, then my bars are not only gluten free, but they're dairy free. There's no soy in them. And I'm not putting extra stuff in there that we don't need.
Yeah, so what are some common ingredients in your bars? Because when I look at the labels, I mean, right away I was like, oh, these are perfect. There's like very few ingredients. You know how to pronounce them. So yeah, share a bit about what are in your bars.
So all of the bars are going to have the gluten-free oats. We're going to have a Minnesota grown honey. So we are certified Minnesota grown. Um, all of them have cinnamon, flaxseed, and vanilla of some sort, and then a little bit of sea salt in there too. So that's kind of like the base of most of them. And then we bring in the extra flavors. So some of them have peanut butter in them, and some of them have hazelnut spread. One of them has an almond butter in them, and one of them has no nuts, and it's like a chopped date chia seed with apple pie spice bar, which is super yummy and kind of different for a nut-free bar. But that's kind of like the base ingredients, and then each one of them has a flavor. So the golden rule is chocolate, white chocolate, coconut, which is our best seller. I think people really love the chocolate coconut. Then we have chocolate dried cranberry, coconut almond, and those almonds are whole almonds that are just gently chopped so you can see the ingredients that are in there. Then we have an almond vanilla, and then that nut-free bar with dates and pumpkin seeds.
Yum. Uh, I can't wait to try these. I was just looking for a product that I loved the other day. It was a type of nut butter, RX. I don't know if you're familiar with RX.
Yep, absolutely.
A vanilla nut butter. It was like a light blue. Uh, they quit making it. And so I hop online because I'm like, where is the nut butter? And apparently there's like a whole Reddit thread and there's all these TikTok videos and people are like, bring us back our nut butter. But it does seem to be difficult because to find a lot of these products, sometimes you find something you really like and then it gets discontinued. I read that they were not. they were having issue with the packaging or the production as well as the demand.
Mhm.
So I can only imagine how many things you have to consider when creating this. So you start by making it in your home. You're selling it on Instagram, which I imagine most people start with. How do you go from that to designing a package and figuring out production?
So what I did is I stayed in the cottage food license, which is how you make them at home. You're in Minnesota. I think it's actually called a certificate, like a cottage food certificate, where um, you basically have the right to make your food in your kitchen. You follow the rules that they set forth, and then you can sell it either online within Minnesota or at farmers markets. And so for about a year and a half, and granted, this was during COVID, I started my market season in COVID. And so all of the other makers out in the market was like, this is nuts. And I was like, this is great. I didn't know that people like came out and did this and or that would come and buy my bars. And so I started my market season in COVID and it actually was quite great from my perspective. And then once I got to the point, like I was still doing market testing. I was still figuring out like, are people going to buy my bars or just my friends and family going to buy my bars? Like you need more than that. And after a market season, I was like, I think that I can go to the next level. I can ramp up production and a bit more. Like people are really interested in it. And so then I got licensed through um, MDA, which is Minnesota Department of Ag, and that means that you can sell in retail and wholesale if you get licensed in both. And I found myself a commercial kitchen. So the commercial kitchen is also licensed and inspected, and it follows all of the rules, but it means I can then produce all of my bars in a safe commercial kitchen, and then coffee shops can pick me up, and then maybe a small retail can pick me up, and I can sell it further than just Minnesota online. And I did that for a while and I was in like the clear packaging. So some of my first customers remember this clear packaging and it was made out of compostable material and it was loud and people were like, I have to like hide it in the office in order to like open this bar. And I was like, yeah, but it's compostable. So because I also care about the earth as we do these single use
Mhm.
convenient snacks, I also want to take care of the earth as we do it. So I'll touch on that when I get to the next packaging round. But I was still in there, like in my single packaging, we're sealing them, putting stickers on them. I'm printing stickers at home.
And was this
Um,
commercial kitchen local?
Yes, it's in Plymouth. I'm actually still there. And next month or 6 weeks, I'll be moving to a bigger one so I can get a bigger piece of machinery to help with production. But we went from like in my kitchen, I could make 32 bars, and then in the kitchen, I could make 200 to 300 bars. And now we're still in the same kitchen, but we have different processes and different um, things that we do and more people that are helping. So now we can make 2,200 bars in 8 hours. And then hopefully with this new piece of machinery, we can actually make 5 or 6 thousand bars in a day, which sets us up in a much different way. But you had asked me about the packaging and like, how do I get to retail level packaging? And so I was figuring out that with the compostable packaging that I had previously, my bars only lasted 6 weeks until the texture changed and it just wasn't the same bar. And that's because of the barriers of the package. Like too much oxygen came in, too much light came in. And so I actually worked with a company called AURI, and it's a local company where small businesses can reach out to them and say, I have a question on this. I need a project around this. And they are brilliant and like willing to help. And so they helped me source packaging that had the right barriers for my type of bar. So you're looking for something that doesn't let light in, doesn't let oxygen in. You have a solid seal. And we were able to take my bars from a 6 week shelf life where you had to keep them in the refrigerator to a 6 month shelf life, then you don't have to keep them in the refrigerator. And that's all packaging.
Wow.
I didn't have to change a thing in the formula. It just had to do with the barriers and and making sure that like things didn't get to the actual bar. And the seal is really good. So we hand seal everything and we double check that that is a good seal every time. So we went to a 6 month shelf life, which is a much different situation. And I was able to find a packager that was in Minnesota and Wisconsin at the time. And then I did a RFP, or request for a proposal, to local marketing and design companies in Minnesota. And I found one called Replace that really supports small business, and they were willing to grow with me. And I did all of my branding through them. They still are doing my branding. They're working on my new wrappers right now, and my new boxes right now. And so they've stayed with me for the past, 3.5 years now. And they've helped me like create my brand and what that means. And so through all of that, we ended up in the pouches that we are right now. And then I'm really excited about getting a flow wrapper, which means that like right now, the process is we hand cut and then I put the bars in the pouch. We seal them, wipe them, date them. And it takes us about 45 minutes to do 99 bars with that process. But with the flow machine, it'll take us like 5 minutes to do 99 bars. And so it'll go on a conveyor belt. It will wrap, date, and seal everything in just minutes instead of lots of minutes.
Well, I had no idea the packaging would make that big a difference. I mean, I would have assumed some, but I would have thought, okay, once you get to like the commercial, um, bef I mean, I'm aware of some other bars that have all like clean ingredients too, but without preservatives, it seems like it's hard to stay on the shelf for so long. So,
Yeah.
did you have that same wonder? Like, am I going to have to change this up at some point, or what did that look like?
I was pushed a little bit to come up with, I could add different types of things to get the shelf life longer. With Right now, my bars are a 9 month shelf life, and it just has to do with the formulation that we have and the packaging that we're in with the seal that we have. And so 9 months is pretty standard for a granola bar that kind of has the same attributes as me. So 9 months is pretty darn good. And I'm still holding really strong to the fact that I don't think we need preservatives in there, and I don't think that my consumers want to eat a bar that's been on the shelf longer than 9 months. So I'm going to hold tight to that one, and I'm going to hold tight to the packaging, that I can be on the trend of post-consumer recycled material, which means my wrappers are made out of recycled material on the front end. So, and it still holds the same barriers and the same principles to keep the food safe. And so I'm going to hold tight to that trend and try to be a part of wrappers not only being made out of recycled material, but they also then can be easily recyclable on the other side too.
Mm.
So there's a fine line that you walk there, because you want your packaging to take care of the food and not create food waste, because that's actually worse for the environment um, than the packaging sometimes.
Sure. But there are a lot more considerations than I think most of us would ever realize. I mean, yeah, because the packaging, that is the thing with, we try to send the kids lunches and Tupperware and things like that. So anytime you have convenient snacks, um, yeah, so cool that you're actually considering that and doing something that's environmentally friendly.
Yeah, and trying to do it on this side of the business instead of when you get a lot bigger and all of a sudden you're playing in like fractions of pennies and pennies for your margins, because granola bars doesn't have a big margin at all. But if I can build that into our financials now, it means hopefully I can stay with that trend as it goes because they're more expensive, of course, but I think it's worth it. And I think people value the fact that we're trying to take care of the earth along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think more and more people are recognizing that you can either invest in your health and in the, you know, preventatively and buy things that might be, more expensive than the next product, but it's going to help you in the long run. Um,
Hmm.
Diseases and inflammation and all the things.
Yeah, right.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's so disappointing to me when there's a product or a company that I really like and I see that they sell to a larger company and then the ingredients change. And I can only imagine like if this is something that you build and at some point if somebody were to come in and offer like life-changing financial situation, like right, the average person's going to be like, yep, I created this. I'm going to sail off into the sunset. Um,
Yeah.
and then these larger companies change the ingredients and I think their cult following that started is like, well, wait a second, the whole reason why I was doing
Yeah.
this was because, so I'm glad that even if that happens and that's the trend that people continue to create small businesses and new products where it is clean because
Hmm.
these keep coming. I mean, I feel like every other day I'm seeing some new product that's getting bought out and changed.
Like,
Apple,
how do we lead up to the bigger companies and say, like, we're actually willing to pay a little bit more
yeah,
for cleaner stuff. I don't want the extra stuff. And that's what we value.
yeah.
But it's a hard market out there. If you take a look at the granola bar aisle, like we're talking, 10, 15, maybe 50 cents per bar difference. And that's a deterrent for people. So if you're looking at a 3.49 bar versus a 2.99 bar, you're buying the 2.99 because the 3.49 just seems wildly too much, right? Um, and there's like very small differences that make it that. And so it's a hard market to be in, and you got to figure out, and it's one of the things that I struggle with right now is how do I be competitive against the bigger ones, even though I don't have the same economies of scale, um, but like still manage my ingredients and hold tight to that stuff too.
Yeah, and we need our schools to be able to have the funding to prioritize the health that is necessary and to have these things available to students. I mean, I taught
Hmm.
I taught high school English for 12 years and uh, we had I would say the majority of our students were on free and reduced lunch and they would come to me between classes and ask if I had snacks. Like all of us teachers had uh,
Hmm.
healthy snacks in our, at our disposal to give them. But a lot of times these kids eat at school. They might have a little bit in the evening and they don't eat again until the next day.
Yeah,
So if we're not providing nutrition there, they're not getting it. And it makes me so angry to think of what they're still giving out in schools. It's so
I
sad.
know. There's a lot of cool things happening with schools, but it still is like it's a
Your area for sure.
yes.
Yeah. You guys
Well,
have great food system in your schools.
Um, and but what's so fascinating to me, so I started the process of looking at my granola bars being in the schools, and my price point just doesn't even like come close to what they're looking for. And like I think I'm a grain and a half, or like 1.5 grains or something like that. And so you have to like meet certain criteria. And I have to get my granola bar down to like $1 or less in order to like even get into the schools. And so some small businesses have really been able to crack the code and do some really cool things with schools and like bring in high nutritious stuff, but the school has to have the funding. They have to have someone that cares. Like they all care, but you got to care enough to like
Right.
go outside of the cycle and try to make that work. And so um there's cool things happening, but I also agree with you. They also give kids foods that they like to eat, I guess, and like what they can afford and what they can get away with. And so there's probably a balance there that they're try to manage.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't imagine the amount of just money that it requires to do that. But I know like it changes. I mean, we all know that kids are their behavior is directly correlated to the way that they eat.
Mhm.
We know that, it's not just causes inflammation, but I mean their hyperactivity, their ability to be alert. I think it was on, do you ever watch that documentary Super Size Me? With,
I didn't.
back
That
in,
was from a while ago, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
he was a pretty health enthusiast. His wife was like super crunchy and like they ate very clean, and he decided to eat nothing but McDonald's for 30 days.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then that was when you could supersize it. So if they said, "Would you like to supersize it?" he'd always have to say yes. Well, anyways, fantastic documentary, and he's passed away now. Morgan Spurlock, I think is his name, but
No.
yeah, he in that documentary they showed a school that fed all their students all organic foods. And I'm pretty sure it was an alternative school, like I used to teach at, and they spoke to the drastic changes in behavior and how I mean the kids are just different,
Mm-hmm.
eating
The
health.
body can absorb the nutrients in a different way, and the brain kind of functions in a different way too.
Right. Right. And have you always been kind of like health conscious?
Yes, I care about my health and I work out and I care about what my kids eat, but there's also like this really fine balance between like how hard do I push and like getting my kid to eat something, right? And so thank God I make granola bars that I know what's in them, and when they eat 3 granola bars in a day, I'm like, well,
Great.
you know
Yeah.
what's there. Um, but I care about like what I put in my body, but it's also kind of this balance too. And so even with the granola bars, I kind of fell into the fact that I made a product that people liked, and it just happened to be a convenient snack option. Um, so it's like how we started this. I definitely never in my wildest dreams thought I would be making granola bars for a side business. And that's what I would, try to make a legacy off of.
Yeah. And is it a side business now? Is it a full time or it's still side business?
Yep, still side business. I work a full-time job as a marketing director for a software company. Um,
Wow.
so I do that from this office. I do P&TY from this office. I spend a lot of time in this office.
Yeah. Yeah. So your marketing background, obviously, and event planning has been super fruitful for this endeavor, no question, because that all translates.
It does all translate, and it's a massive amount of like transferable skills and knowledge. So the software that we sell for my full-time job is an ERP and a CRM system, which is enterprise resource planning. So think finance and operations, and then CRM thing, customer engagement. And and then our main industry that we focus on is manufacturing process, like food and beverage. And so when I first got asked to apply for the job, I was like, I actually am doing pretty good. Like, I'm doing events, I can manage my schedule, I can kind of do home life and this other stuff. And then when I learned about this company that I'm working at now, I'm like, wait, so I could learn about software that eventually my business will need. The industry that like they're focused on, one of the main ones is the same type of company I am. And I'm going to get into the marketing team and learn about marketing. So in my mind, it was like, yeah, I got skills that work over there, but I'm also basically going to get a mini MBA in all of these things that I need to learn about. And so I took the opportunity not only to help, and I thought that I could make an impact, but also to learn from everybody around me and see what else I can absorb because it's going to transfer over to PNTY as well. So it was kind of it's a cool fit. And both sides of my worlds kind of overlap in different ways, and I can leverage information too.
Yeah. Yeah, they all definitely translate to each other super
Yeah.
well. What
Cool.
what has been the biggest learning curve for you in this whole process?
Oh man, it's steep. Like it's a steep learning curve, and I didn't grow up in the food industry. Like I grew up in financial services with Ameriprise, then I went into events and then technology. In no way was I a part of the food industry. And the food industry, I think, is complex. Um, there's low margins. There's like terms and tech and technology that like I don't even know about. And so I think the biggest learning curve is the industry itself in which I'm in. And then it's the financials, and it's the like how do you manage your mission and your brand and what you care about against a margin in which you can keep going. Um, and because you always want to make sure that you have enough money to keep going, take the next step. What else can I do? And I'm pretty proud of the fact that I'm up until last year, I didn't invest anything in the company. Whatever I made is what I spent. And then we got a little bit bigger, and I needed to invest some of my own personal money into it. And then I'm going to help pay for the flow wrapper as well. But so right now I'm still a self-funded business. I think that gives me some flexibility and some ownership in it. But
Wow.
I think that financial aspect of it is interesting when it's just you making the decisions and trying to figure that out. And truly, it's not like how big of a profit, because if anybody's in small business, you don't make anything for a while. Like you kind of like reinvest everything back into the company. Um, but I would say the food industry is a massive learning curve, and the financials, um, and how to maximize and how to make decisions there is a big learning curve. But I think the coolest part about doing a food business is in Minnesota, there's a massive community of other people just like me trying to do what what I'm trying to do, and we all kind of like help each other out. Minnesota's got a ton of resources, a ton of people that are out there just like sharing their information, trying to help each other. And so um, there's a lot of resources. And so it's just like, how do you take the right next step to the next thing? Like I just got to meet the next person that's going to tell me one nugget of information that's going to get me to the next thing, and try to make the right decisions. And hopefully I do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to so many people about how they've created things, and one of the best responses I've had, which is basically what you just said, is like, well, I don't intend to know everything. I learn from the people that I'm, connect with, and I'm continuing to learn all the time. And I think that stops so many people from starting something new, is because they just assume they're supposed to know it all before they start. And it's like, nobody does.
Oh.
Yeah, we just, know a little bit. We keep asking questions, make a lot of mistakes along the way.
hmm
Really just that courage to take the first step and know that there's going to be a big learning curve, more than we'll probably ever anticipate. We
Yeah.
can't know how big that curve is, but I think that's what allows us to actually take the risk.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hit it on the head, is like it's having the courage, it's having a network of people you can bounce ideas off of, and then and like knowing that there's risk, and but then also understanding yourself and saying like how much risk am I willing to take on, and like how fast do I want to move. And so I've always had to balance that courage and risk with I still own the financial stability of our family, and I got two kids, and we like to do things, and I make more than my husband, and so I have a responsibility to our family to make sure that I'm good here while also trying to grow a business over here. And so I've had to make some decisions where like I don't go as fast or I don't invest as much or I'm a little bit slower to the game than some other people. And you know, you always watch other small businesses and you're like, well, what are they doing? And how'd they get into that store already? And like, what are they doing over there? And it's this mind game of I'm still trying to do the right thing for my business at the pace in which I can manage and do it well. Um, and like how much risk can I take on while I do that?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
crazy balancing.
Yeah. And there's, I learned many years ago that if you start looking at what other people doing or that comparison can just like suck the life out of you because there's always going to be somebody who's seemingly doing it better, doing it faster, doing it bigger. Um, and and so it's just like a losing battle. And so yeah, I think that that can keep people stuck too if they get in that mindset. And so, yeah, and I think what you're talking about is really about like balance and harmony. Like you're a mother and you have a spouse and you have a full-time job, and so it's growing it at your own pace and um, giving yourself grace for that, but also recognizing like you have built this company that now has these beautiful products. And by the way, your marketing, the packaging is so cute. I
Thank
love the
you.
colors. Yeah, they did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you're right. And it's a really great reminder because in all honesty, I get stuck in the comparison sometimes, like when you have a bad day or something and all of a sudden your Insta feed is all of the businesses that you follow that are telling you that they're making a ton of money and they're in these new stores and they're doing demos and they're out there doing all the things that you want to be doing.
Mhm.
And there's a whole lot of like reframing as an entrepreneur to remind yourself of all the things you just said. So thank you for those. But like I get stuck in that sometimes. And you just got to remind yourself like as long as you have the right intent and as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, then we're on the right path, no matter how fast that we're going.
Great. Yeah. And I mean, it's something I remind myself of too. I think we all need the message all the time. And I'm at the place right now where I'm like, okay, I am I have a lot of things that I want to put into action. I have ideas, I have goals I have, but at the same time, my kids are 13 and 11. I'm like in the golden years and I do not want to miss a beat.
Yeah.
I know how quickly they're growing and I to me that's everything. So like all of the other stuff can come slowly. I don't have a time frame on it. Like time
Hmm.
anyways, I just want to you know, be present.
What fun ages.
Yeah.
Like, what are they up to?
So our daughter is in dance. It's basically year round. I mean, she's summer's technically off, but she's still dancing.
Hmm.
And she loves it. She found it a few years ago, and she's definitely found her thing. Um, and then our son does hockey, football, and baseball, and he loves golf. So
You
he's
guys are busy then. But like how fun that they have the passions and that you guys
yeah.
can do that together.
Yeah, I mean, it truly is our social life, like getting together with other sports families and being away at tournaments and away at dance competitions. Um, and so, yeah, it's a very cool time of life that I feel like is for such a short time. And I'm gonna look back on these days like, oh, this was so good. So, trying to be as present as possible.
What advice do you have for travel tournaments? Because I'm going on my first one this weekend.
Oh,
My
you are.
our son is 7 and we're headed to Illinois for a hockey tournament. And
Oh,
I'm like, I'm over here. I'm like, I don't know what to expect. Like, we met the family all the families like one time. I'm like we're in for something new, and I'm super excited about it. But do you have any like
Yeah.
hockey
Well,
tournament advice?
he's doing AAA. This is his first.
SPP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, so fun. STP. Gosh, why do I feel like I
PP. So skills development program, I think is what it's called.
got it? Okay. Yeah. Oh gosh, advice on away tournaments. I mean, I feel like we spend a lot of time at like restaurants and finding downtime in between. Um,
Hmm.
and a lot of times I come home feeling like tired and bloated if I'm not like thinking ahead of, okay, we're going to this restaurant and probably, you know, um, I'm not crazy strict, but I just with eating, but I do like to just feel good. Um,
Yeah.
with hockey tournament, the boys are huge on using the mini stick. So
I keep
bring-
hearing about this.
yeah, so the mini sticks and like usually they bring a couple nets. That's what they do in between games.
Okay.
And that's super cute. I mean, some places some hotels even have like a little like mini rink indoor thing for them to play knee hockey. It's super cute.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. You're gonna just bond with the families and get to know people. It creates this whole new village. It's super fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay, noted on mini sticks and nets.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I would start investing in those what are they called? The mystery minis.
So Oakley, our son, has like talked about it at least 8 times in the last couple days.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, okay, so now I need to look up mystery minis.
Yeah. Dick's Sporting Goods has them. Most hockey stores will have them. Uh,
Okay,
but yeah, and then you think like if they get one or two, they're fine, but they want one of each. So then he might start asking them for like every holiday, birthday, Christmas. Yeah.
of
And
course.
snapped. So, you'll have
Perfect.
6 in your future.
Because you can't have too many, I guess.
Yeah. No, no, one of each. Oh, that's so fun. I'm excited for you. Okay, so you have a 7-year-old and then
A 3-year-old
3. So a 7-year-old boy, and then is it a
girl. So Oakley is the 7-year-old, and then Lennox is the 3-year-old girl.
oh, cute names.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep us on our toes, man.
Yeah, yeah, fun ages. Oh, you're just getting started. So exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I am in that point now where I'm like, okay, in just 2 years, she's gonna have her permit, and then it's really gonna, yeah. So I feel like I'm hanging on with like,
Mm.
tight grip. I mean,
Do it, man. If
yeah,
you can do it.
just hanging on to all these moments for sure.
Very cool.
What do your kids think of all of this with your company and
It's pretty cute. Like, back here, Oakley wrote, my favorite food is my mom's granola bars. Like, so all of his, like when they write out like little surveys or little like pictures or whatever, his favorite food has always been my granola bars, which I love and it like makes my heart melt.
Mm.
They know that I'm in the kitchen or that I'm out doing demos, and I think they get excited when they see me like in an ad or like I sponsor Maple Grove Hockey, and Oakley's like, "Hey, mom, you're in the program," and so it's kind of cool. Or like I've been on Twin Cities Live, and they think it's kind of cool that their mom is on
Yeah.
TV. Uh, I think the coolest thing is they really like what I make, and they eat it every morning. They ask for it at night. You know, they might ask for cookies, but they'll ask for a granola bar with it. And I just like, it makes me so happy that I can make something that they love to eat. They share with others. Like they get excited. I hope that they see me like following my dreams and trying something, and trying to like show up not only for them but then also for myself and in cool ways too, and trying to teach them, if you have a dream or you have a passion or if you have an idea, like it's worth exploring and trying it and seeing what works. So I think that they think it's pretty cool. We'll just see as things get bigger and maybe more faster, like what they decide after that.
I'm sure they love every bit of it. And yeah, to see you out doing things like that too. I mean, I'm always going to be a mom first. There's no question about that. And I do think there's so much value in going after your dreams and your own pursuits and showing your kids just what that looks like. Showing them that you can be, a mom and you can be a dad
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think that so often we give up so much of ourselves for being that role, whether it's mom, a wife, whatever. But you can do, multiple things, even if it's you have more concentration here for a while or vice versa. But
Yeah, there's an ebb and flow to life. And I also think it's really important to show them like the process while you're doing it too. So work isn't always easy and granola bars aren't always easy and I have to work weird hours to make it happen. Um, but I don't shy away from like if I'm overwhelmed and you have days where you cry and you're like, I'm overwhelmed right now. Like it's nothing that you guys did. I'm just having a moment. And having them see the good times and then the tough times and how you manage through the tough times, I think is important for them too. And they're pretty empathetic kids. So it's kind of cool when if I have a moment, Lennox will come up and she'll put her hand on my cheek and she's like, "It's okay, mom." And she'll like give me a hug and I'm like, okay, I'm actually like better. Like it doesn't matter who the human is. It's this connection factor that I see you, I hear you, and uh and I'm here with you. And so it's kind of us living the brand at the same time a little bit too. But um I don't shy away from showing them the process as it happens too. Like we can celebrate the big things, but we got to manage through the other stuff too.
well, that's so important, especially as kids who will undoubtedly grow up seeing things online, like, they're in a generation that sees so much of the finished product and not everything that goes behind it. And so for them, I think it's going to be all the more of a reality check or learning curve when they know how much effort and how many mistakes it takes before you see that final product that they see in like a 15-second reel or whatever it is.
Yes, right?
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I love that you share that with the kids. I think it's so important for them to see the range of the ups and the downs of a business, and then also just as a human in the human
Hmm.
experience. So,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah. Okay, so you've already shared really great information specifically to like if somebody's in Minnesota listening to this, like the companies you've worked with, where you contacted. But overall, if someone's listening and they want to launch a new product, what kind of advice would you offer?
I would test it. Do market research and test it, and see if it's viable outside of your immediate circle. So, so if say it's a consumable product and you make it, are people liking the formulation that you have? Do they like the taste, the texture, um, the ingredients that are in it? Test the pricing of it. Like what actually works for them and how much are they willing to pay, and then ask about like the feelings that go with it and the ideas and the branding. So I would say as much testing and market research you can do before you invest a lot of overhead into it. I think the better. And I literally put them out in baggies and like the little Ziploc baggies, and I didn't have any special things with it. I might have put a sticker on it. I sent out a Survey Monkey free survey and just gathered information, and I was able to just get an understanding. And I remember at that time I was driving like I had friends from like high school that I didn't talk to in like 10 plus years, and they're like, I'll try it. So I like drove it 45 minutes and dropped off 2 granola bars. And I was like, can you fill out a survey? Like I was willing to do whatever to get people to just try it and like give me feedback on it. And then once you know that like it's decently viable and like you want to take the next step, I would try really hard to keep your overhead costs down. So I built my own website. I used packaging that was inexpensive. I did my own stickers. Like I there was lots of things that I managed myself, even though I wasn't good at it. But like you can get away with that when you're at farmers markets or when you're at like that level. Like people expect that. They don't expect at the very beginning like really fancy stuff. And so then I grew into the other things when I had more volume in which to pay for it. So I would say market research, testing surveys, and then try to keep your overhead costs as low as possible until you know um, how viable the product is.
Yeah, great advice. And where are you found at now? Do you continue to go to farmers markets?
I'm at farmers markets in Maple Grove. So Maple Grove is the city that I'm in, and there's a really cool community, and Maple Grove is it's a fantastic farmers market. And so I stick there because I can manage that in my work schedule as well. I'm in some retailers. Kowalski's is the main one that I'm in. We're working on finding some other retailers that will take on the product. I mean, another learning curve is not only getting on the shelf, but it's then figuring out how to stay on the shelf as well. So I've invested in a different distributor and someone to help with sales. And so we'll figure out how we can expand our reach within Minnesota. And then the other cool things is like coffee shops and a few hotels and stuff like that carry our bars too.
Cool. You worked with Whole Foods before, right?
So I did their events as their event planner. And if this comes full circle and I get back into Whole Foods, like this will be like the moment for me. So if any Whole Foods people are listening, but I just applied for their incubator program. So Whole Foods also is a big advocator for small brands and helping them figure it out. So they have an incubator program. I applied for it. They asked for samples, so I got to the first step. And then if they like the samples, then we would go into the interview process. And with that, I think it's like a 8-week program where I learned from them, like learning from the best of the best, and then you get on some of their shelves too. So we're just trying different angles and trying to learn and get into the industry in the right avenues.
Very cool. Have you considered going after Shark Tank at all?
So people ask me that, and I got to come up with the right angle. When I think about granola bars, I don't necessarily think Shark Tank because it's like you got to have a massive differentiator, I feel like, to go on Shark Tank. And it's not that I don't think I could do it. I don't think that I have the right angle yet. Like I got to figure that one out. And then the second one is I think I have to be bigger in which to manage taking on investment. Um, right now, I don't need, nor do I want actually the outside investment. I want to manage it inside for a little bit longer, um, and keep the flexibility there. And then I think eventually I'll have to take on outside investment. And if if the thing that I need the most could be solved by one of the sharks, then that might be the route. And um it's a massive audience, right? And a massive platform. And so I think if you do it, I think you got to do it right and you got to manage it right. So if I feel like foundationally I'm ready to take that on, then I would. Otherwise, there's also a ton of local things that act like Shark Tank,
Oh,
just on a smaller scale if you're looking for investors and stuff. So there's lots of different avenues around that, but like the Shark Tank idea
yeah.
is definitely something that is rolling around in my mind. I just gotta I think, be set up foundationally in order to take that on and not crash and burn as I do it.
Sure. Yeah, it's smart for you to know like whether or not you're ready for that next step because we watch it all the time and I think it's so amazing how people just learning about the behind the business, how people scale them and so many times they say, well, you're not ready yet, when they go through all their things. And so, yeah, good to be self-aware where you are at the process. I mean, you're having success on your own. You're not having to dilute you know, uh, um, your finance
Mhm.
right now. And so I think that's awesome if you can continue that. Um,
Yeah. I'll try to continue as long as possible. I'm not naive to the fact that eventually I'll have to take on outside funding, and that will be a whole nother learning curve in which to manage outside funding and what that means. Um, but hopefully I don't have to do that right now.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay. So you're at farmers markets, Maple Grove, which is a great one. And talk about your website and how people can purchase from you through there.
So on our website, it's www.pntygranolacompany.com, and it has all of the about us and the facts about our product and everything. But then there's a order page, so the shop page there where you can buy granola bars, the granola. We have a sampler bundle if you want to try one of each, and then the Mama May I bars are also on there too. So they only can be found online, and that's a lactation granola bar. So if somebody is breastfeeding, it supports milk production for them. And then we also have a subscription page. So if you want monthly granola bars just shipped right to your door, we have a subscription process as well, which lots of people love. It just, you sign up for it, you get a discount not only on the bars, but you get a discount on the shipping price too. And then it just comes to your house once a month.
Okay, and I want to go back to what you said, and I meant to ask this earlier, the lactation, it helps with that. So what is in it that helps?
So the Mama May bars came when I was actually breastfeeding my kids, and I was looking into what are the ingredients that help with milk production, and it's like flaxseed and whole fats like almonds, and it's oats, and the Sharing is Caring bar had all of those things in it, and then I added brewer's yeast, and so it has the natural ingredients that help with milk production, plus a little bit of brewer's yeast that just kind of, elevate that a little bit more. And it doesn't taste like chalk. Like some of the lactation bars out there don't necessarily taste that good. This one has a great taste to it, the right nutrition for it. Lots of mamas, like they have it on their nightstand and they're having it in the middle of the night, or they're eating it throughout the day, or it's one bar a day plus some water, and they notice a big difference with their milk production. Like I was done breastfeeding Oakley for a year, and I had extra Mama May I bars, and I was like, I'll just eat them because like no one else, like I didn't have anyone else to give them to. So I ate one a week or one a day for a week. And even though I was done breastfeeding for an entire year, I started to reproduce milk after eating the bars for 1 week. So I know that they work. And it's just nice that they taste good too.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so glad I asked. Like, what a great testimonial for.
Right? I was actually at an event and I just brought them because I had extras, and all of a sudden like I'm in it a few days and I was like, whoa, haven't felt that feeling in a while. And like you know the feeling when like
Yeah.
you start to produce again and you're like, oh, so like not only did I know that they worked when I was supposed to be producing milk, but I know that they they still work.
That is incredible. I
Yeah.
would love to have had those. I just had somebody on, well, Diana, who,
Yeah.
so when she was talking about finding things that helped milk production, I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have been more crunchy when my kids were that little because uh, I nursed for over a year with both kids, but I definitely struggled to get all the milk production that I needed at the,
Mhm.
point.
Kudos to you. It's a tough job, and it means something. So nice job.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, what we do for those little nuggets.
Yeah, right.
Well, I am so thankful for you coming on. I feel like there's so many great nuggets in here for aspiring entrepreneurs, for parents, for mamas, just all around. And I'm excited to release this, which should just be in a couple days. We're a little behind schedule on my releases, so I'm gonna go ahead and release it this week. I don't want to sit on it.
Cool. Well, this was a great conversation. Thanks for having me, and let us know, because then we'll cross promote on our page too, and we can share it in our newsletter.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Absolutely. And I'm excited to get my order soon. So
You get it.
so nice to meet you, Britt. Thanks so much.
Back at you. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.